Waiting to get checked to see if I am dilated.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so before I check you, the reason I asked about the intercourse is because there's a swab. I'm sure maybe you've heard of it before, the little fetal fibronectin swab. So that is a swab that we use 34 weeks and under, just before I check you. It's a test that it's better when it's negative versus when it's positive. When it's negative, it reassures us that it's very unlikely that you would be going into labor over the next couple weeks. When it's positive, doesn't mean that you're going to go into labor. It's just not usually as useful. But if you've had intercourse, if you're bleeding or something, you can't use the test because it's inaccurate. So that's why I'm going to grab that first.
Did you get the results from my glucose test that I took Friday?
I'll have to look in there.
Okay.
I'll look.
Now, my doctor says that my due date is March 19th. And we were supposed to be talking about getting induced for at 37 weeks because I delivered quickly. But we was deciding to see NMV back. This is like a pregnancy after C-section. But we don't want it. We can just have it normally without having an induced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, unless obviously there was a medical reason to do it, then no. I mean, I guess the biggest thing is you have to, as soon as you start having any signs of labor, just because of things going so rapidly, you're going to want to not stall and just come into the hospital. All right, go ahead and scoot your bottom down for me.
And then, like, even though the due date is March 19th, I usually deliver at 38 weeks. So it may be like I may deliver a little earlier than my 3 weeks.
Okay. Alright, so I'm sorry, I can't use any gel for this test. You can go ahead and just lay it across the side.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh wow, we have to use those clip things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, doing good.
Okay.
Okay. Just a little swab here. This should just stay in there for 10 seconds. I'm going to take one more swab just to make sure discharge is not an infection. And then I'll take it out.
So you do see a lot of discharge?
Yeah, but I mean, that is normal at this stage.
Okay.
But anytime you start to feel more pressure or anything, we'll just make sure, it's not like a bacterial infection or anything, because sometimes that can cause irritation.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to check you, so I'm going to use gel for that, okay? So just one finger on the inside.
Okay.
And just some pressure. I mean, not dilated. The cervix is kind of thinner, but I can't actually touch the baby's head. But the head is, I can't get through your cervix to touch the head. But the head is definitely, when you made that kind of noise, that is me pushing on the baby's head.
Okay.
So the head is definitely low. So that's definitely why you feel more pressure, because the head is in position and low. But your cervix doesn't feel dilated at all. So that's good. Okay.
So cervix thin. What does cervix thin mean?
So that's effaced. So that means that, you know, a lot of times from either random contractions or just from the head putting pressure on the cervix. Normally when you're not pregnant, your cervix is kind of longer and thicker, but with labor and contractions, that's what happens is the cervix starts to thin out. And when you're, you know, about to deliver, your cervix is actually what we call 100% effaced, which means it's as thin as this piece of paper.
Right.
So yours is about, I would say, 50 to 60% thinned out already.
Okay, yes. So that means that may start dilating early.
So sometimes it's then easier.
I
Yes,
usually
because you
do.
don't have to, you know, yes. So definitely, I'm not gonna send the fetal fibronectin since you're not dilated. But if you are at home ever and you do start feeling, you know, those rhythmic contractions, and you're counting them and they're coming and going, you know, at an interval of every 5 minutes or less, then, and, you know, if it's consistent that way for an hour or two, then we want you to go into the hospital.
Okay.
Okay? Or, I don't know if your water has ever broken at home, but if you ever had a big gush of fluid.
See, that's because I had like a big gush of that, the discharge.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just the locaria.
It does just look like that. So, but I did do a culture, so we'll send that. That'll come back in a few days.
Okay.
And that's normal. I mean, that's just part of like the hormonal changes in pregnancy.
Okay.
But I mean, definitely if you do feel labor type symptoms, don't stay home.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and get dressed, and then let me go look at your 1 hour. Okay.
Okay.
You do it?